Here we go. Here we go. Another day, another week, I should say. Morning to you folks. Good, whatever time whatever time of day you may be listening to this. Whether you're doing it live on either LinkedIn, YouTube, or Facebook, or you're tuning in on the Move Swiftly podcast. Great to have you here. Great to have you here. Great to have you here. Let me just share it out real quick. Let's check. All right. We're going to get this thing jumping off. You see what we're talking about. We're talking leverage today. And how are we going to use it? What are we going to use? Are we going to use it in a way it's conducive to our development, making sure we're getting in front of the right people day in and day out and utilizing the leverage to the point where you can teach how to use leverage, all right? So we're going to utilizing the leverage to the point where you can teach. All right, let's get into it. Right into it. Good afternoon, good morning, good again, whatever time of day you may be tuned into this. Before we get started, let me just introduce myself to anybody that may be new to my world. My name, Aswan Crookshank. I am your one and only Move Swiftly speaker, former Division I college football player, and current 5-time, soon to be 6-time published author and educator. What I do, what the whole brand is, what the whole Move Swiftly business is all about is taking the innovative teamwork lessons that you learn on the football field and aligning them with businesses and business owners so they have a staff group of employees that moves as efficiently as a championship youth or high school football team. And today we do what we typically do on a Monday is we start off every Monday with something that I call a kickoff question. Make Your Move Monday kickoff question, which is, what is your best leverage? What is the thing? What is the thing that is making it so you versus a competitor is going to make you just a little bit different? It's going to make it so you are able to do things that your competition can't. Because I got news for you. You have competition. All right. If you're really in business and you're really out there trying to make a difference, you're really out there being unique and offering a service that's going to be beneficial to somebody else, you have competition and you better be ready for it. You better be using your leverage day in and day out to make it so you're better than you're outworking your competition. In fact, that's something we're going to be discussing tomorrow in tomorrow's episode when we go over the top 5 ways to utilize leverage. So the theme throughout this entire week is going to be leverage, using your leverage, how to best use your leverage, what are the things you need to be doing, how you need to be paying attention, what you need to be showing up for, how you are able to show up in the world. And honestly, too, what kind of feedback are you asking for? What kinds of things are you looking for from people that are in your friend group, right, in your inner circle, to say, hey, I don't want you to just be nice to me. I don't want you to just tell me the things I want that you think I want to hear. I want you to kick my ass a little bit. I want you to get my ass in gear. I want you to get me ready, because I know that essentially at some point that ass kicking that you gave me, that tongue lash and that kind of raising of awareness is going to make it so I'm getting a little bit better. So we're going to be diving into all of that today and throughout the week in terms of what is your best leverage point. All right. So before I get into the topic, let me just get through 2 announcements today. First and foremost, business owners, again, like I mentioned in the intro, here to serve you, here to help you. We're here to work with you in ways that no other person that's offering employee development or self-development, professional development, no other person is going to be able to do the things and tell you the things that I'm going to be able to tell you. So the very first thing I need you to do is go to free guide. This is a free 1000% free guide for you that I've created. Go to freeguide.makeyourmove.com. Simply put in your information. That'll take me. It's only going to be first name, last name, phone number, and email. And you will then you'll receive a 10-step ways in which you can be utilizing some things in your business now for your employees now to make it so you have things that are moving in a more cohesive way. It's a completely free guide. and it is made for you as a business owner. All right. So that's the first thing that you need to do. Next thing you need to do, obviously, if you're going to bring me in for employee development, you need to get to know me. Right. You're not going to make the investment on somebody that you do not know. All of the tools and all the things that you need to get to know me, it'll be on makeyourmove.com. That is MakeYamove.com. You can shop, you can purchase some of my books, you can join the Patreon community, you can book me to come and speak to your staff, you can learn or simply just learn more about Oswin, or tune into another one of those fantastic episodes of the Move Swiftly podcast, which is and will continue to be the #1 podcast on innovative teamwork. You type in innovative teamwork on wherever you listen to your podcast. This show right here is going to be the first one that pops up, because I've been doing it, this is doing it my entire life before even podcasting was a thing. Teamwork and teaching, learning how to work as a team, getting better as a team, and all that kind of stuff. It has defined my life. That's what we're going to be. And that's where we are at in terms of our announcements and things like that. If you're a regular listener, the boxing classes I'm still having the boxing classes, but you have to contact me personally so I can let you know where they'll be, how we're going to do it, because I am kind of maneuvering a new situation in my personal life now as we move forward to the summer and new things are happening. So the skill, and it's so crazy that I'm bringing this up now, because my biggest leverage. So for those of you who don't know how this works is I will explain to you, I'll put the question out there on a Monday, and what is your best leverage? All right. And for me personally, I will answer the question, and you can go look at the receipts that I do every single Monday. I'll answer the question. I'm going to go over the article that I wrote about it. We're going to read through the article line by line, and I'll, kind of walk you through my situation in terms of how I utilize my best leverage, or what my best leverage is, or depending on whatever the question is. And I'm doing that as a way of not necessarily bragging, but also, or impressing you, but impressing upon you, this is how it gets done. Being the example first before I set an expectation, before I expect anybody else to be able to, follow the things I'm saying. I myself have to be the example first. Great leaders I've been around, the great people that I've been around, the ones that really do get the most out of their players or their staff or their employees or even their kids, in many ways, is the ones that are actually doing the work. They're actually being the example and not asking anyone to do anything that they don't demand of themselves, right? So for me, the way I answer this question is my ability to teach boxing classes. Right now, the reason this is actually the first time I've held out the boxing classes. I've held that out of the announcements for the first time in a while, because as me personally, I'm transitioning it all over South Florida. I had one of those weekends, man, where it was so many more possibilities opening up to me in terms of, buying a home, and, I don't like to use the word settled. It's like I just hate using the word settled, but as I'm getting more serious with the female that I'm seeing, now it's becoming one of those things with, man, getting ready to be a homeowner, man. Getting ready to, really lay some roots now, as opposed to, bouncing around and doing all these things and stuff like that. Because, when I first got out here, didn't have a job offer, didn't have anywhere to stay, didn't know anyone, and especially the part of Florida that I was in. So I literally, and my credit score was probably at 400 something. Like, I was in a mess when I first got out here in 2018, I think it was now. Yeah, because it was 2017 and then 18. So I went from St. Petersburg then to South Florida. It was an absolute mess, and it's such a great feeling. Finally getting to a place now where I'm able to put some roots down. And you think I'm like persistent and getting to the bag now? Just imagine what it's going to be like when it really get homeowner and get this set. All of these things are starting to come into play, and the hard work that I've been putting in, I've been dedicated to, it's really paying off. So things are going well. Things are going well. I'll just say that like that on a personal line. But because things are going so well, the boxing classes, it's one of those things where I'm able to do it wherever. I can teach boxing in whatever state, whatever county, whatever park whatever is available. And as I continue to grow and focus on employee development systems, employee development workshops, me being able to teach that to a staff, me being able to teach that to a business owner, and have their staff come out and do certain things. All of that stuff is how I use my leverage. So we're going to get into, like I said, we're going to get into that. In fact, we'll just start it right now. We'll just, right from there, we'll start it right now. I'm going to read you first and foremost what made me come up with this question for today's, for this week's theme, which is all about leverage. In fact, before we even go to the article, let me get this, so just so we're on the same page. And I love, shout out to Dre for actually teaching me this, because I love getting clear definitions. I love getting a clear definition on something before we dive into the topic. All right. So right now I'm reading directly from Google, the Google definition. By the way, if you're listening to this live on YouTube or LinkedIn or Facebook, be sure to like, comment, and share to anyone that really needs to hear it. Our podcast listeners can continue to leave reviews, leave incredible reviews. In fact, there's a guest going to be coming on the show. I haven't decided what week I'm going to put the episode out, but I did interview another employee development and aficionado who we had a great interview. I know it's been a while since I've been doing interviews because I got really, locked in and focused on the solo episodes, but the interviews will be back as well. So make sure you're liking, commenting, subscribing, following, wherever it is you get your podcast, wherever it is you do your thing. Just continue to like and subscribe. I mean, the impressions more. Shout out to the LinkedIn, to the folks on LinkedIn. I see the emails all the time, all the impressions, all the love and the viewed your profile. All that stuff is great, man. And I appreciate you guys tuning in and supporting your one and only Move Swiftly speaker. It's much appreciated. All right. So best leverage. Before I get into the article, let's get a full definition on the word leverage. The assertion of force by means of a lever or object used in the manner of a lever. That's the noun. That's the actual thing. That's like, it's like this, right? Instead of having, let me put this up real quick. Instead of having to hold the cup like this, leverage will be just handle where you don't got to have your whole hand wrapped around it. This would be the leverage. This is the leverage, okay? For the podcast listeners, I'm holding up my mug. Shout out to Access. I won this at a speaking competition or, doing an energetic video. So this would be the leverage, just handle and not having to hold it like this. So the lever, that's the noun, the actual person, place, or thing when it comes to that. All right. Now, as far as the verb, which is more so what we're going to be discussing today in terms of the verb that leverage is, because we're all about action here. Move swiftly, all about action, all about taking action. All right. Used borrowed capital for an investment, expecting the profits to be made, especially the profits made to be greater than the interest payable. Use something to match. All right. So I like number two's definition. The verb part. The verb, there's two definitions for the verb. The first one is the one I read. Used borrowed capital, basically money. Used money for an investment, expecting the profits made to be greater than the interest payable. All right. So they're putting it in the financial terms. But the better definition and what it is we're going to be discussing today is number two right here. Use something to maximum advantage. Use something to maximum advantage. What are you using that's going to be to your maximum advantage? All right. Are you using it? Do you know what it is? Do you know how you're going to use it? What is it going to be that's going to make it so you're using it to your advantage? And you have to use it. Hear me, folks. Hear me. You have got to use it to your maximum advantage. All right. Do not be apologetic about this. Be absolutely unapologetic for the skills and the things that you have made available to you or that you have in your heart, the things that God has naturally gifted in you. Know them, figure them out, understand them, really, really understand what they're all about, and then use them every single day to make yourself better and to serve the world the way you want to serve the world. this is an important concept because, like I was saying, I actually said this morning on the Move Swiftly Thought, the world, all right, the world will make you feel a sense of guilt towards having these skills. All right, the world will make you feel a sense of guilt towards having success and wanting to be great and wanting to do a lot of great things. The world will make you feel like you're doing something wrong when you do that or when you talk like that. When I'm here to tell you, you're doing nothing wrong. Utilize your leverage, utilize the things that are made available to you, and be unapologetic about it, and make it so you're constantly getting better. That is your job, to continue to do that. Don't be apologetic about it. All right. So let's get right into the article. First, reading directly from the article now for my podcast listeners. All right. So, what is your best leverage by Oswald Cruikshank? It's Monday, which means it's time for another Make Your Move Monday kickoff question. This week's question is simple but game changing. What is your best leverage? Now, before you panic, if the answer isn't immediate, relax. Like always, we'll be unpacking this all week. But let me take you behind the scenes of how this question came to life, because the story says it all. Yes. All right. So I'll just read it and I'll comment on it after I read it. So it all started with a lemonade stand. All right. Now this was actually recording this. Yeah, May 12th. So this was 2 weeks ago when I posted it on I posted it on social media, where I was working a lemonade stand. So the girl upstairs, her daughter asked her to do a lemonade stand, and she did it. So again, me being Mr., I've worked tons of table setups and done a ton of different vendor setups and all that kind of stuff. I'm like, okay, I'm in with this. See, this is the kind of stuff I like. You're talking my language when you're talking stuff like this. So it all started with a lemonade stand. All right. So exactly. Yeah. So it was last week, right? So exactly 1 week ago, reading directly from the article, folks. All right. So exactly 1 week ago, I found myself helping out at a lemonade stand run by a 6-year-old girl. Her mom, who I'm currently dating, had helped her set it up before, and this is something that she doesn't even know yet. I didn't even tell her about this part. So before I arrived, I was deep into the audio book version of $100 Million Leads by Alex Hormozi, a book her mom actually recommended. So she told me to read this book. She told me to go download the Alex Hormozi's $100 Million Leads. And on the way to me helping out at the lemonade stand, I was I was entrenched in the audio book. I was entrenched in Alex Hormozi stuff, and we'll be discussing Alex Hormozi throughout the entire week, because I did finish it this week. I did finish the audio book this weekend. So midway through the listen, reading directly from the article, folks. Now, all right, midway through the listen, Hormozi dropped a line that made me hit rewind 8 times. I'm telling you right now, I am not exaggerating. I hit the rewind button 8 times when he dropped this line. All right. He said, even the old lady can lift the truck if she had the right lever, but the strongest man in the world can't lift it without one. Boom. That's when it hit me. All right. I'm going to say it again, nice and slow for the people in the back. All right. This right here is where the entire week's theme of leverage and figuring out what your leverage points are going to be, and using whatever lever it is you have, whatever the things that you have made available to you. This right here is how it hit me. It hit me when Alex Hormozi dropped this gem. Hear me again. He said, even the old lady can lift a truck if she had the right lever, but the strongest man in the world can't lift it without one. And then the reason it hit me so hard because, well, first of all, my background is in fitness and athletics, and being, fit and running around doing a lot of things. And so is Alex Hormozi. Alex Hormozi's background is in gym launch and doing a lot of things from a fitness standpoint and things like that. And when you think about when you're in that industry, you think about a lot of big bodybuilder guys, a lot of whether male or female, a lot of people who are really in shape, have really ripped bodies, and their confidence is oozing, their confidence is soaring because they have a great body, and they're eating right, and they're in shape, activated, very healthy looking individuals. So when you think of all the work that goes into doing that and all the work that goes into making sure you're doing the things to keep your body in check, and then you have an older lady who probably worked out in a couple years and she has the right lever and she can just simply push it down and a truck can be lifted, versus the person who's actually, spending their entire life getting healthy and getting fit and, dedicated their life to it, they still won't be able to lift the truck, even if they didn't have a lever, right? So basically the point that he was making is, regardless of where you are in your business, regardless of where you are in your structure, regardless of where you are in your life, you need to have some sort of lever. You need help in some way, shape, form, or fashion. You need to be utilizing something that's going to provide you with the tools and provide you with the ability to get something done, to get the results. So regardless of where you are, you need to be using your leverage. And the issue, again, we're going to dive into it, is the issue is that so many folks go about being in business and go about doing their work on a day-to-day basis is not even knowing what the hell their leverage is, what their lever is going to be, because there's a sense out there, there's a feeling out there that the world puts as if you have to feel guilty, or you have to be apologetic about having the leverage to do something that somebody else can't. All right. But you're not going to be able to be successful. You're not going to be able to be great if you don't figure out what the leverage is and figure out what it is you can do that nobody else can. What exactly are you offering? Why would the people that you're looking to sell your thing to want it from you and you only? What can you offer that absolutely nobody else in this entire world can offer? All right. That takes work. That takes self-development. That takes you becoming so entrenched and so focused and so dialed into what it is you're doing that you're saying, look, ain't no way in the world somebody gonna mess with me. Ain't no way in the world somebody gonna be able to do the work that I'm able to do and do it in the fashion in which you're able to do it. You got to develop you can, especially when it comes to this, you can never have too much confidence. All right. You can never have too much confidence. You can't. All right, especially when you're talking business and you're talking sales, you're talking, working in a industry and working in a world that's dog eat dog. It's a dog eat dog world, and it's whoever's hungry, go and get to eat. Period. Point blank. End of sentence. All right. So when he dropped that line, as you can tell, I had to rewind it over and over and over again, because I was like, damn. He's right. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm like, okay, that makes sense. It doesn't matter where you at. Don't matter how far along. Think of that strong, like the strongest man and the old lady, and the old lady is using a lever to pick something up, and even the big, bulky bodybuilder cat is still needing a lever to pick up a truck. I'm like, okay, I got it. I got what you're saying. All of this was going on before I got to this. That's why I'm laughing, because all of this was happening mentally before I even got to the lemonade stand and to see, her do her thing and make her profits and make her sales, and how that actually turned out to where she actually did make a profit based on something that she just literally just casually mentioned to her mother. So, all right, let me get back to the article before I talk too much. All right, so even the old lady can lift a truck if she has the right lever, but the strongest man in the world can't lift it without one. Boom. Then it hit me. Everyone needs leverage in business, in life, in growth, in love. Without it, you're stuck pushing against something that will never move. Think about it for a second, folks. Think about it. Think about the entire mini rant that I just went on. All right. If you don't figure out your leverage and you don't use it, you're always going to be pushing against something. You're always going to be pushing something and pushing something and pushing towards something that will never move. You will never get to the places that you're desiring to get to in your heart and your mind if you don't recognize what makes you different and lean into the things that make you different. You will lose. It's like pushing against, like pushing the wall over and over and over again. It's like the world's strongest man who spends his entire life in the gym, spends his entire life working out, spends his entire life doing whatever it is he or she needs to do. You're going to see a big Mack truck and you're not going to be able to just lift it up. But the old lady who who is smart enough to use a lever, she's going to be able to pick it up. You got to know what your leverage is. I will repeat that as frequently as I possibly can throughout this entire week. What is it? What is it? What is it? All right. So here we go. Here we go. Write it back to the article. Back to the article, podcast listeners. So what's my best leverage? And I sort of answered this a little bit, but it's in writing here. So I'm going to dive deeper into it based on what's written in the article. And by the way, medium.com, make sure you guys find, I know it's not as popular of a social platform as the other ones, but medium.com, if you are following me there, I am considering giving out a free book for all of my Medium followers, Medium people that follow me on Medium. If you're not familiar with what Medium is more so about it's kind of a social platform that's all about stories and articles. A lot of people write their articles and stuff like that on medium.com. So that is what Medium is. So support the Medium. Make sure you follow me on Medium. It's medium.com/move swiftly. All right. So here it is. What's my best leverage? Here's the truth. My primary, I'm reading directly from the article now, folks. My primary offer is employee development workshops. That's my business. All right. The real leverage is how I deliver those workshops. Hear me, folks. Hear me. All right. You right here. There's a lot of people offering a lot of employee development stuff. A lot of people who offer employee development. My real leverage, the real leverage that I have over those folks is how I deliver those workshops. It's the how. It's the how. It's the how. Just like everything in life. A lot of people offer the same thing and doing the same pitch and making the same old, cookie cutter. This is what we do. This is how it helps you, making the same old guarantee. How you deliver your shit, right? How you deliver what it is you do is going to be ultimately what folks pay for. How do you deliver? How do you deliver it? All right. I'm a lifelong athlete. All right. I've captained multiple. So again, now this is me reading directly from the articles and telling you how I deliver my workshops versus somebody else who may be offering employee development workshops. So a lifelong athlete. I've captained multiple championship football teams. I've coached at the high school level. I've trained others through Positive Coaching Alliance. I even worked 2 seasons as a top seller for the Miami Dolphins Foundations. And when I stepped into a boxing gym, I bring all that when I step into a boxing gym, I bring all that experience with me. Discipline, leadership, resilience, and performance under pressure. That unique blend, hear me, that unique blend allows me to teach boxing-themed fitness classes in a way that builds not just physical stamina, but real-world confidence in people's careers, in their relationships, and how they show up every day. I got to pause real quick there. I have to pause real quick so you have a clear understanding. This is not me just kind of tooting my own horn, or so to speak, all right? But it is a real thing that I learned along the way. When you're able, and this is just true even when you're talking employee development workshops, because these people who are employees, this is their job. This is how they feed their families. This is how they pay their bills. This is their career. They want to take their job, turn it into a career, and make sure it's something that is going to sustain them over years. It's sustain them for the rest of their lives. It's that important. It's that important that whoever they bring in is going to be somebody that is teaching it in a way that's connecting it to every piece of my life, connecting it to all of the important things or the things that I find very valuable in life. So when you're talking about an activity like boxing, okay, discipline, leadership, resilience, perform, okay, it leads to real world confidence in people's careers. All right. So if they're in a situation, I'm going to point out real life examples. If they're in a situation where they feel like they're getting bullied, where they feel like they're working or they're qualified to do certain things, and there's a big buddy system here. There's a clique that, again, something that is very common in the workplace. There's cliques of people that are just simply looking out for each other. Their confidence for you to go and approach these cliques and approach these people and approach some boss or some person who's kind of the head of this clique and doing this and doing that, the confidence that you're going to gain All right. That confidence is coming from the fact that, hey, I'm in shape now. I know if things get physical, I'm ready for that too. Obviously, we don't want them to get physical, but if they do, I at least have the confidence to do it. In fact, I'll read you an excerpt from by the book, Make Your Move, Unique Look at the Boxing, Dance and Entrepreneurship. I'm going to read you the intro. I'm going to read you the intro to it because not the whole thing. Okay. Yes. Once I learned the skill, became the foundation to the Plus LY brand. Blah, blah, blah. There. All right. So I'm going to, not the article, but the introduction, reading directly from the introduction of my book, Make Your Move. Says, there was a girl that became a member at 9 Round who started when she was a junior in high school. She signed up as the summer was approaching. She was gearing up for her senior year. She would initially only come in for a workout with her aunt and cousin who lived out of town. Once they went back home, I personally expected her to stop coming. She proved me wrong and continued to come to the gym regularly. She started out as a very shy and reserved young lady. After a few months, she became outspoken and confident as her senior year was ended. I remember speaking to the same colleague that taught me how to hold mitts, and he also noticed the change in her, not just her physically, but also in her personality. She would open up to us more, boldly speak about some of her aspirations. She'd even do multiple workouts a day. These are the moments that made my heart burst with pride. So I read you that because as you learn these things, it's going to lead to the confidence that I'm referring to. Confidence I'm referring to in terms of people's careers. That young lady that I was talking about, she was going from high school to college. Now, in your relationships, again, there's tons of domestic abuse situations, tons of situations where females are in a situation where they were abused by their husbands, and when they learned how to box, the confidence, even though that, they separated, there was one particular that I'm thinking about, even though she was separated completely from the individual who did that to her, she eventually opened up to us and said, hey, even if I see him now, it was years ago she dealt with that, but even if I was to see him and let's say he was like 100 yards away and I'd see him, she'd just break down and just get but the confidence in terms of how she was able to learn her jabs, her crosses, and all of that led to a mental state that allowed her to just, wake up every single morning, right? So again, with the relationships and then how you show up every day, all of that plays a role in it. So again, reading directly from the article, my best leverage is not just a workshop. It's not just an employee development workshop where I'm just walking in and telling you, you have to do this. And then if you do this, some PowerPoint presentation. No, that's not it. It's how I'm delivering it is what's going to ultimately make the sale and make the experience. And I don't like to necessarily even use the word sale, but make the experience something that they carry on with them day in and day out, and that they bring me back over a period of time to where my personal goal is to make it so company just, trust me. I get a contract with a company that says, hey, everything employee development systems, as one's taking care of that, the Move Swiftly brand's taking care of that. That's the goal for me. At some point, all the employee development needs comes through the Move Swiftly brand. That's the goal. All right. So my best leverage, not just a workshop. It's me. It's the way I teach. It's the lifestyle I embody. And it's the energy I bring. And now I'm using that leverage to open new doors. Fact, very next. Yeah. So this is actually what happened because of, this is all coming from, a lemonade stand and me. So I'm reading directly from the article, guys, and understand this is what happens when I feel that thing, when I feel things starting to connect. I take action. It's a habit of me to take action, which is a habit that you need to develop. So here's what I did right after that. So I'm back to reading directly from the article now. Let me get a sip of water because. All right. So my best leverage is not just a workshop. It's me, the way I teach, it's the lifestyle I embody, it's the energy I bring, and now I'm using that leverage to open doors. In fact, the very next day after working that lemonade stand, knowing my girlfriend and I are considering Boca Raton as a future home, I launched a sign up page for local classes, boxing themed boot camp on makeyourmove.com. Literally did that the following day after I just saw the whole thing come together. And again, that's where we kind of work well together, because my entrepreneur mind gets a little excited with certain things, and not that she has more of the mom mind, the parent mind, to say, come on Asma, let's work together on certain things. And that's where the connection becomes something that has been obviously incredibly valuable for me, and I'm sure she'd say the same thing. So back to reading directly from the article. So now the real question is, here it is. Put your ear nice and close to wherever you're listening to me from. Really hear me when I say this, okay? What the fuck are you doing with your leverage? Come on, man. What are you doing with your leverage? All right. What are you doing with it? How are you utilizing your leverage? How are you utilizing it? You gotta be utilized. You gotta be every day utilizing your leverage. How? What are you doing day in and day out to make it so you're using your leverage to create something great? What? Okay? Because here's the reading directly from the article now, folks. Here's the reality. The world moves fast. Your competitors aren't waiting. Your dream clients aren't either. And that perfect moment you're waiting for, it's not coming. Okay? Knowing your leverage is a start, but that's not enough. It's your job to use it boldly, aggressively, unapologetically. All right? Final thought, reading directly from the article. Final thought. That 6-year-old made a profit by casually mentioning she wanted to run a lemonade. All right, let me read it again, because I was there to kind of watch the whole thing, and I'm going back in my mind thinking about it, because it's absolutely mind-boggling to me, and still is. This stuff never gets old, guys. By the way, it never gets old. The reason I have the ability to do this every single day and come up with a topic, a theme, or anything is because it never gets old. It's life. It's beautiful. It's something that's meant to be cherished. It's something that's meant to be respected and appreciated. The moments, man. Lock in the moments. The moments. These moments will never be. Appreciate the moments, man. So whenever I'm able to see a moment like that and then create something beautiful from it, and create something that even the 6-year-old girl, is going to be able to pull up when she gets to, when she gets to be that age of 16, and she's going through, life as a teenager, and being able to pull this up. And it's just a beautiful, beautiful moment that we don't get in the habit. We do not spend enough time cherishing the moments, man. The moments. We're so quick to rush into the next moment. Again, I'm not talking at you with this. I'm guilty of doing this very thing. In fact, just yesterday was Mother's Day, and I was with her for a church service, and this was my first time going to church by the Glades. And by the time we left, I was already on, man, I love this place. I might come jump on next week. We're gonna do this, we're gonna do that. And she looks at me and is like, dude, we just it's like, we just got out of the place and you're already on next week, and how you gonna connect this, connect that, and make a little connection there and do, you know what I'm saying? Like that's what I mean. The moments are super, super important to be appreciated, and you gotta appreciate the moments, man. The moments. All right. So final thought. That 6-year-old made a profit by casually mentioning she wanted to run a lemonade stand. Her mom helped her execute on that vision. That's leverage in motion. Now it's your turn. So again, I'll ask you, what's your best leverage, and what are you doing right now to move on it? Let's get it. Make it move. Make it move. Make it move. And speaking of make it move, I came up with that because I came up with the whole make your move concept because I actually went to, it was my first time, actually, another thing I wrote about. Again, go get the book, folks. Go get the book. There's a lot of great stuff in here. I actually came up with the title of this book, Make Your Move, and the main website that I sent people to, Make Your Move, because of This guy, Tony Robbins. All right, Tony Robbins. I went to a UPW, which is short for Unleash the Power Within. It was when he did it in Miami. And one of the things that he would do to get the crowd excited, he made it. He showed, and in fact, I'll just kind of close out with this. I'll close out with this concept. I usually like to keep these around 45 minutes. So I close out with this concept in terms of, because it actually is the perfect way to, perfect way to illustrate how you develop confidence and what confidence is all about. All right. So Tony Robbins has this thing where he does, where he kind of pokes your chest out, because when you're able to poke your chest out, it displays confidence. You see something going on, you see a certain situation, you have a objection, or you have unplanned situation that comes up in the world. You have a life happen to you. All right. And in many ways, or an unknown factor, unknown course, something happens in which you may not know the result of it. And if you can figure out how to be confident in those moments, poke your chest out and move with some efficiency. He's all about, physiology and psychologically making it so you're confident to do certain things. And then this was around the time I was just developing as a public speaker. So listen, I needed to hear all of this. I was soaking all this in. I was like, sponge, man. I'm soaking all this in because I'm training. I'm teaching the boxing classes. I'm also selling with the Miami Dolphins Foundation. I just wrote my first book and all of this stuff. I'm just soaking it in. I'm like, okay. So I go through the 4-day UPW with Tony Robbins, and seeing it live was something that was a huge, incredible experience for me, because he would get the crowd all excited. He would do this and do that and do like, make a move, make a move, make a move, make a move. So I remember the next day on the treadmill, as I was, because I still ran every morning, and I was saying that to myself all day. Like, I was saying it to myself on my way. I was in Plantation. I drove to my aunt's house in Miami, and I was just kept saying it to myself. So by the time I parked at my aunt's house in Miami, I had literally paid for the domain name Make Your Move. This website that you see right here, I paid for the domain name at that point because I loved it so much, and it just fits so well. It fits so well with the whole concept of move swiftly, making your move, and teaching people how to move and all that. It just fits so well. And I tell you that because if you're not ready to jump on something right now, you are losing. If you are just simply going through the motions and hoping for the perfect moment, right? Hoping for the perfect moment is not coming. All right. The perfect time is not coming. It's not. All right. You're not going to the certain number of money that you would need for this, that, and the thing, to where you're just going to ultimately, all your problems are going to go away. None of that is coming. The only route to a successful and a fulfilling life, both professionally, personally, romantically, whatever avenue you want to look at it from, is if you just jump. Just jump. You gotta jump, and you gotta put yourself in a position where action needs to be taken right now, not tomorrow, not later, not when the market's right, not when all the other fucking excuses that so many people make. You have to set your life up in a way where you can make your move right now and move with some efficiency. That's all mindset. That's all mental. All right. Now, tomorrow we're gonna dive deeper into the top 5 ways in which you can utilize your leverage. Today was all about recognizing it and understanding that it is a blessing. It is not a burden. It is not something that you need to hide from the world. Understand that the good book says your gift shall make room for you. So tomorrow, what we're going to dive into is the top 5 ways in which you should be using it, how you should be using it, the best ways that the best, and really important. Another important fact is having the right people around you that are going to recognize your strengths and recognize the things that you are all about. So we'll dive into that tomorrow. Same channel, same around the same time. I usually don't start these. Usually try to start these no later than 7:20 a.m. But they'll be posted they'll be added to the podcast as well, the Move Swiftly podcast. If you have not subscribed, make sure you subscribe to that. It's the #1 show on innovative teamwork. Also, if you haven't subscribed to this channel, make sure you do that as well. Like, comment, share, subscribe, all that stuff. It is been an absolute pleasure, and the beautiful thing about all of everything that's been happening is it's like I'm still at the start of it. I'm still just scratching the surface of what this whole thing is going to be about. So all that being said, everyone, again, made website to check out to dive deeper into everything I'm doing. It's makeyourmove.com. That's makeyourmove.com. Everyone out there, continue to move swiftly. We will talk more soon.